Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Living Gardens Homestead. James here. Uh, I brought a video on our pantry that we have, and showed the video. And I thought about people out there. There's a lot of people that don't have a pantry, and they've got used to going out and going to the grocery store every day or once a week or what have you. And even I've seen some where you even open the refrigerator. There's not much in there. Uh, Maybe you'll see a bottle of ketchup and maybe a quart of milk or something like that sitting in the refrigerator. Uh, I know this generation that is out there, this younger generation, you all had it pretty good. You've worked, you've had money, and you've been able to do a lot of these things. The sun's coming in there on me, and you could always go out there and get food and stuff. These are times coming up that a lot of people haven't lived through, and there's probably some of you out there that look at a pantry like what I showed, or what a lot of these other homesteads and farms, they show their pantries. And when they do, you think, Lord, I can't do that. I can't get that much food. Well, we didn't get that much food either overnight. It takes time. You put a little back at a time. And what you could do is a lot of people, they don't put their goals close enough to reach. It's somebody wanting to buy a house, and if it's $100,000 that they're looking at, then if you got to come up with 20% in or 20% down on that, that's $20,000. It takes a long time to save that. And as you're trying to save for that, that's a long-term goal. But if you're trying to save for that, and that's the only goal that you have, you're going to get discouraged because it's taking so long to get to where you want to be. That's a long-term goal. You need to have more than just a long-term goal. You need to set yourself some short-term goals, just like with a food pantry. Short-term goals. If you go once a week to the store, just buy you one can of food to bring back extra and put it on the shelf. And then, you do that every week. At the end of a month, you've saved 4 cans of soup or vegetables or whatever it is you like. And another thing, don't go out here and buy a bunch of stuff that you don't eat every day. I mean, I've seen people do that. I've seen people that hate beans. They just absolutely won't eat them. But for food security, they go buy beans. Well, if you don't like them, don't go buy it. That's just the way I see it. Just buy the things you would normally like eating. And but set yourself some short-term goals. Uh, Short-term means you can achieve it within a short time. And like I said, that's a lot of the problems, and people get discouraged and everything because they set their goals out too far out that they can't attain them. Reward yourself. Set you some short-term goals and meet those goals, and let it build your confidence that you can do things. And just like a pantry, people, I don't think it's ever too late. You'll hear some of these YouTubers out here, oh, it's too late. You've waited too late. Well, I don't think it's ever too late. It's never too late to start buying a little extra if you can and putting it back. And slowly over time, you can, as with the inflation going up the way it is, what you buy this month, 6 months from now, a year from now, it may double in price. In other words, you've saved money by buying that and putting it back. And if you haven't seen our video on our pantry, I would suggest that you go watch that. Like I said, it did not happen overnight. It ain't like well, we just decided we're going to make a video on a pantry. We don't have one, so let's go out and buy thousands of dollars worth of canned food and stuff, bring it in here, set it up so we can do a video. It don't happen. It didn't happen that way. We've always raised a pantry because our grandparents and our parents, like I said, this generation hasn't went through what we have. And we learned from our grandparents and parents to put food back, not because of some kind of major thing that they're talking about now is going to happen, or the shortages or what have you. Our grandparents did it because they always had food. They would raise a garden, they would can it, put it up on the shelves and stuff, because little do you realize today, even this younger generation don't understand that back in my day, when you had a car, you had no air conditioning in your car. You had a little wing window that you could adjust, it looked like a triangle, and you'd adjust that so that the wind, as you're going down the road, would blow through the car. A lot of you probably haven't seen those. Just like today, you've got refrigeration. Back in my grandparents' days, they didn't have electricity early on. I think my grandparents' house was one of the first where they were at to get electricity in it. I'm not positive about that, but I know they got electricity back when they could. And the light bulbs hang down from the ceiling. The wire ran across the wall. See, they already had their walls wallpapered with newspapers. See what I'm saying? Back then, people lived hard. And today, people don't live hard. All this complaining they're doing about pronouns and this, that, and the other. If that's all you got to complain about, you're in good shape. Because back then, people had more to complain about than that. And I know a lot of you viewers know that too. And, leave it in the comment section what you remember about your grandparents and the good old days, we call it. But they didn't have refrigeration back then. So when they put up meat, they still had meat. But when they put it up, like a hog, and most people back then didn't have cattle. Beef was really expensive to have back then. And if somebody did have a cow, it was a cow. And it wasn't to kill for meat. It was for milk and cheese and butter and stuff like that. So most of them didn't have beef to eat. So the only thing they had was pork and chicken. Well, if you kill a chicken, you can fix it right away. So a lot of them kept a chicken lot. And a lot of them kept their chickens in that chicken lot, and they'd feed them and this, that, and the other until they were ready for a chicken dinner. Then they'd go out to the chicken lot. And I know this sounds disgusting, but I've seen my grandmother do it. Sunday dinner was always chicken dinner. She'd go out and get 2 or 3 chickens. She would wring their neck. She would swing them around, around, around. She'd be holding their head in her hand, breaking their neck, and throw them down, let them flop all over the place till they died. Then she'd pluck them and clean them and everything and fix Sunday dinner. But you couldn't do that with a hog. If you wanted some bacon in the morning, you couldn't go out there and kill a hog and just get the bacon. What are you going to do with the rest of it? And they didn't have refrigeration. What they would do is they would salt that hog down when they'd kill it. Pour the salt to it. Let that salt draw all that moisture out of the meat, because bacteria and mold and stuff like that. They like moisture. And if you can draw all that moisture out of that meat, then you can smoke that meat, which puts a coating of smoke on it to help protect it even more. And I can remember back when I was a child, you could go out to the smokehouse where the meat would be hanging and take and slice off. It's hard for me to use my hands today because of this sun. But you could slice off a piece of that meat and put it with dinner. Okay? But now, like I said, the chickens you could do daily, a fresh chicken. But when you killed a hog, it was a lot of meat. So they had to store it somehow. And they had no refrigeration back then. See, that's how lucky people are today. And they don't realize it. They're complaining about such small things because they don't have big things to complain about. And, what if you had to live like that today? Would you could be complaining about how I can dress or what you should be eating and shouldn't be eating? And would you have those complaints today if you had to live like they did? And believe me, I'm telling you, if somebody makes a wrong move, we're going to be living just like they did. Now, I don't know. I don't try to read God's mind, but I believe in him. I believe God does things for us. But maybe America has moved so far away from God with the things that Americans seem to believe in today that maybe God's allowing this to happen to bring those people down off that high pedestal back down so that maybe they'll start looking back up at him. Because I'm telling you, the things these people are complaining about today and trying to change America into, it just ain't right with God. I'm telling you right now. And, that's just like that. I love Jesus. Okay. Now, I don't want this, I didn't want this to get off on religion. Because I don't believe in any religion. I just believe in the Almighty God and his Son. Okay. And the Holy Spirit. But, Christ came here and he hung on that cross and died for my sins. In other words, I was not worthy at all because of the sins that I had in my life or going to have in my life, whatever. But, Christ came and died for me. That means something to me, that somebody loved me enough to die for me. That means something to me. But it seems like this generation, you could step out in front of a bullet for somebody, and the next day they forgot about it. Dying for somebody and giving your life for somebody today does not seem to mean anything to anyone. But it means a lot to me that he loved me enough to die for me. And it should mean that much to everyone else. But America's just went too far. God gave us all these resources on earth, coal, gas, and all this stuff. God gave us these resources to keep us warm, to take care of us. I've always said, now I don't know how true it is, but I've always said, God gave us a cure for cancer. Out there someplace, I honestly believe he did. These plants and stuff, God has given us all this stuff for us to use and take care of ourselves. He didn't leave nothing out that I can believe in. But the problem, I can't get on here and tell you whatever I go out there and a root that I dig up or a plant that I pick or whatever. I cannot get on here and tell you that this will cure your hearing problem or whatever, or it'll grow hair. See what I mean? It'll grow hair. But if I would tell you that you take this plant, make a salve, rub it on your head, and it'll grow your hair back, it'll cure your cancer, it'll cure your heart disease. If I was to tell you that, they say it's illegal. It's illegal for me to do that. So the only thing is you can't patent a root. You can't patent a plant. Okay? Now, it's been a long time, but I think I remember them telling me that it was a leech. You know how you can get a leech on you when you're in swimming and you don't even know it's there? You just happen to see it when you get out of the water. Well, that leech, in order for it to bite into you, it's got a chemical it puts on you that numbs that area so that you don't feel what it's doing. Okay? They say, I'm pretty sure that's what they told me, but they told us that leech, they knew that it would numb you, so they went to doing research on it and checking things out, and they found out a way to, in the lab, create what that leech puts out so that they can numb you, which is Novocaine. Okay? Now, that's what I heard. Now, whether it's true